welcome to Mind Your Business, a channel where we are in everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip. Well, people, it seems like Carlos King's shows are definitely causing some calls for conversation around production in particular. You've had Marsau and Tisha go and do a live speaking about, production would be being lazy if they followed the current social media storyline. So let's talk about it, people. Well, I've got this, my creative crew. Let's talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, aka Love and Mugshots, as well as some of the stuff that's going on, outside of the show. So we saw Kimmy tell Mel about, the whole mix-up in terms of Chris being the person that allegedly hooked up Martell and Tisha. So you could tell Mel was a bit like, well, what's going on there? So we see her go and speak to Chris and ask some questions. Now, I understood her asking questions. I know people on social media are like, why does she care? They're not together anymore. But at the time, they were just going through their divorce. So I would also want to know if these people that have come around me and I call my friends / mentor, or whatever you want to call them, but especially your friends, and they were there being a rock to your husband and yourself, Chris with the husband and I'm sure now with her, but they both supported the couple. So I would be definitely looking at it like, well, yeah, I want to know from the terms of integrity perspective, like, is this what he's done? So I completely got why she asked those questions. And I understood why she was like, well, I was holding back my RSVP to the vow renewal. I completely understood why she had that attitude too. So I didn't think that was a big deal. Of course, Chris denied it. He said that he wasn't involved. I also thought it was interesting that she brought up the advice that was given to Martell from what he calls elders, about, getting an NDA and all this kind of stuff, getting an NDA signed to make sure she had something to lose. I thought that sounds more like Maurice and Marsau. So it cracked me up when Chris was like, no, that wasn't me. That sounds more like, Maurice and Marsau. I was like, woo, you really dashed him under the bus, innit? He dashed him clean under the bus. Like, that ain't me. I ain't talking about no lawyer stuff. That sounds like the lawyer in the group. It must be Maurice. So that made me laugh. But anyway, back to Mel and Kimmy. I didn't think it was a big deal that Kimmy told her. I felt like that's what's going to happen, and I'm glad that she did, because really Kimmy was just the other day saying to her how she felt like Mel should have came to her with her questions about Maurice. So clearly she's going back to her with her questions like, did you know that this is what's happened? And let me spill some tea, as you're also liking to spill tea around here. So I didn't think that was a big deal. Now, in other places, I thought it was interesting where we had Martell pop up on Tisha and Destiny when they were catching up on their brunch. Clearly, Destiny told him what was going on, but I also believe that was part of production telling him to turn up. I feel like Tisha handled that quite well, getting up and going back to business, because when you're coming to the table chatting about hello, the first thing out of Martell's mouth should have been, you know what, Tisha, I apologise for the way I spoke when we last together, because I wouldn't be here for it either. The only difference is that I would have taken my food with me. No one bite business. I would have taken my food and gone back my business. So I understood where she was coming from. Now, of course, she went to go and run and tell her husband. No surprises there. I was talking about Destiny as a sidebar. I felt like the scene with her and her dad was really, really cute, but felt a little bit late in the game. Like, she's been around for a while. We don't know nothing about her. I didn't know that, she grew up with a mum who had drug addiction and that, basically her dad raised her, and that she went into foster care for a little while. There's a lot of stuff that Destiny has got that I feel like she could be showing. But I feel like for this, it was an interesting segment to see. But because there is so much things going on in the show elsewhere, it was kind of like a filler. So I feel like it was good to see her in that light with her dad, but I feel like she needs to open up a bit more. Now, Destiny's launch event. Now, I think it's good that she's doing a launch event. I think it was also good that we got some context as to why the name was Madonna. So I thought that was quite cute. Her event was nice. I will say that, her hair, her makeup looked good. The dress colour was nice. The dress style itself, I was not really feeling it. I don't know what was going on. It was giving very Disney princess, but I don't know, there's something about it that I just wasn't quite feeling on that. But the colour and the hair makeup there, she looked really cute. I thought it was interesting when the ladies were sitting around and Destiny wanted to, vent her feelings about having to invite Sunny to Nell's bachelorette thing that she's doing for her vow renewal. I thought it was interesting because Nell was very much like, well, yes, I want you to invite her. The difference is that it's not my battle, yeah? Like, I don't really know something like that, but it's not my battle. But I thought what's interesting is that, one, she doesn't have to be invited really because Nell and her don't really have a friendship. But because it's a show and I'm sure production are in her ear, that's probably why she wants to invite her. Plus, like she said, she has no real beef with something. She doesn't really know her. She didn't like what she did. So I felt like, okay, I kind of get where she's coming from. Also, bearing in mind that this is reality TV, I'm sure production was saying, can you make sure you invite her? Doesn't really matter because we know that Sunny and Moses are leaving the show anyway, so it really don't really matter. But I thought Destiny
her, taking it as I've got to reevaluate my friendship with you, it's just giving very immature. It's like, well, you're my friend, you can't be nobody else's friend. Like, no one belongs to anybody. So I just felt like, Destiny, like, go and reevaluate yourself at this point, because what are we talking about here? I thought she would make a bigger deal than she needs to. It's definitely given, storyline. Speaking of storyline, the fact that she's dating Nell's son, I think that's interesting. We're not really seeing that. Apart from him popping up here and there, we're not really seeing how that's going. I feel like we're not getting the full ends of what we can get of the show. I feel like the moment the show is focused around too much drama. And I'll come back to that because, Marsau and Tisha went live and spoke about that. Now, the Marsau and Tisha sit down, I thought was really interesting because, obviously Tisha was happy to stay at this point because her protector was there. But I don't feel like he protected her. Now, I do feel like Marsau handled Martell well, in the sense that we know that Marsau is smart. So I feel like he knows how to push his buttons and wind him up and get him to act out of character while he stays within character. And we know Martell doesn't take much to get him out of character. I feel like he's a bit of a loose cannon anyway. But I thought it was just interesting because, at first Martell started off by saying, he popped up at Destiny to apologise to Tisha. But at no point in that conversation did I hear him say sorry. I thought it was interesting because Tisha was like, what, let me go. And you two just speak about it. It's between you two anyway. And then Marsau was like, no, you stay here. So she stayed. And then I think to myself, well, you made her stay. Only for Martell to turn around and call your wife slow in your face while she's sitting there. And how disrespectful is that? And what annoyed me with Marsau, I was like, okay, you've just heard your ex-friend call your wife slow. That's disrespectful. You could at least check him for that. Instead of coming here all saying sarcastic stuff. I get what he's trying to do. I get that he's trying to kind of deflect. That's just typical Marsau. But I felt like in that moment, whilst they were trying to show this united front, and, Tisha to me always has her man's back, but he doesn't have her back in that. Like, I felt like from the moment the man said, your wife is slow, and Tisha hit back and was like, oh yeah, basically he just wishes he had a wife like me. Martell's like, well, yeah, exactly, because everyone wants a wife like you who's basically dumb and allows someone to cheat and doesn't ask no damn questions, is what he's saying, basically. So at that point, I just felt like, Marsau, you should be saying to him, look, you cut it out, don't come for my wife. You can come for me all you like, but don't mention my wife. Like, you should have just checked him on that behaviour. I didn't like that bit. Anyway, when Tisha kisses her husband and walks off, you could tell that Marsau felt good. He felt good. That's when he was like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm better than you in every aspect of your life, basically, is what he told Martell. And I thought to myself, this is really interesting because there's one thing with Marsau, like I've said before, I don't really trust him. I feel like where there's smoke, there's some sort of fire. But I do believe that NDA stuff applies to that man. I don't think it's stupid at all. So there's a part of me that's sitting there like, okay, that's good, there's a united front. But the other part of my mind is like, the sitting there smug kind of gave me thoughts of, now if I was a guy that had been cheating on my wife and not wearing my ring, and I've managed to get whoever I've been cheating with, allegedly, potentially, hypothetically, to sign these NDAs and everything was kind of tucked away and sealed, yeah, maybe I would be sitting there smiling too, and my wife is nothing along with me and was saying, I'm not interested and sticking by my side. Yeah, I might be smug too. And especially when he kind of alluded to Martell that, well, you didn't really get the reaction that you wanted. It was almost like a game of chess, like, well, you see, you tried your move, but it didn't work because I've got my household covered. I've kind of got that type of a vibe. Like I said before, Martell blew up his whole life. Now he's trying to drag people down with him. And if Tisha is happy to have him cheating out there and turning a blind eye to it or whatever he's got going on, then that's up to her. Maybe he's not cheating. Maybe he is saying what he does, even though I still side-eye it. But I thought it was an interesting scene. But you could tell Marsau was feeling himself in that situation, talking about how he feels like Martell, he's trying to compare himself to him. And essentially, because Marsau is doing well, he feels like Martell's just being bitter. Now, on their live that they did, I think it was yesterday, and I caught up with it today. I think it was interesting because on their live, Tisha and Marsau were talking about how, this current narrative that's happening on social media. So clearly, where Martell has been trying to drag them about his side chicken and this type of stuff. Marsau was saying, oh, well, only producers that are lazy will use social media to build a narrative, and that's not going to happen. And we don't want one person to be basically in control of the narrative. Now, I can understand that, but there's a part of me that feels like he's just doing damage control. Because it's like he's saying the producers would be lazy to do that, but his producers are not lazy. So it was almost giving like mind control, like just don't go near this subject. Just don't go near these subjects whatsoever, because he says he ain't talking about it. If anyone asks him anything, he ain't speaking about it. Tisha said that she doesn't want to hear anything about what Martell is doing over there on social media, so she's not interested. And we really know Tisha's never really been interested in hearing any of that sort of stuff anyway. So let her stay where she is and let them do what they're doing. But I do feel like it was interesting, him talking about how basically that he feels like the show is showing more clannery and less about the business. Like, it started off more about, you know, them coming together, building, developing, all that kind of stuff. We hardly see any of that. And I thought it was interesting that he mentioned how there's a lot of stuff that was cut out. So them working on developments, him going and helping to build out something for Kimmy. We saw them talk about that last season, but obviously they didn't finish showing what happened. So apparently they were doing that. So there was stuff that's happening elsewhere that it's not being shown. And that's the same thing that was happening on Bell Collective. All they seem to be focused on is the drama. And it's like, yes, drama is interesting, but one of the reasons why I started watching the show was because of the fact that there were black entrepreneurs and they were married black couples at that as well. So I was just like, well, this is really interesting. Now it just turned into a whole lot of mess. And I feel like Carlos likes a mess, but there has to be a balance to the mess. I want to see a bit of everything. It doesn't have to be messy all the time or orchestrated mess. It just needs to be a bit of both. But I do feel like they made some good points about that. But I do also side eye it, and I feel like Marsau is not slick, and I feel like he wants to get ahead of this story. He doesn't want to have this whole story about what Martell's bringing up about the side chick and all this stuff. He doesn't want that to hit the TV screens. They'll start filming now, basically, and they want to focus on other stuff. So they were coming to the viewers saying, well, let us know what you want to see, and we want to show more business, and we want to see this. But really, it's not up to us. It's up to your producers and what they do. So we need to go and speak to them. That's what I think about that. But anyway, like I said, Marsau will continue to do whatever he's doing. If he is cheating, he can cheat in peace because he's got NDAs, you know, signed, and he probably is with somebody who has something to lose based on the advice, if that was indeed him. Or if not, you know, it is what it is. But of course, I went to go and check out social media to see what people were saying on there. Here are some tweets that had me cracking up. Okay, so you've seen those and you've heard what I have to say. Now, what are you saying about the show? Let me know your thoughts below.
Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.